Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Gaming the System, the podcast where four intersectional feminists look at gaming through a feminist lens. This is a bit of a special edition because we're going to be releasing it as soon as possible rather than releasing it at some other point in time. And we're talking about the Video Game Accessibility Awards. These were, I think this is the second year that these awards have been held. They were presented by Alanah Pearce, who's an extremely popular YouTuber and Twitch streamer, and Stephen Spohn, who's another Twitch streamer and an accessibility specialist. And they put on a really good show, and it's an hour and a half. Go and take a look. It's on YouTube now. I'm sure I'll remember to put a link in the description. And it's a specialist awards ceremony focusing in on accessibility in video games. And where we're going to start off with is so I thought I knew a little bit about accessibility since it seems to be a bit of a hot topic at the minute, which is awesome. I thought, I've learned a bit. And then this awards ceremony educated me as I was enjoying it. So, Alex, what was your impression of what accessibility meant in games before the awards?
Yeah, so I guess I had my own understanding in the context of what it means to me as being something very personal to me, because obviously I have cerebral palsy, so I have my own kind of barriers to access in that way, in that I can't do very quick button presses or a lot of button presses all at once. So having something in a game that reduces input or allows for like slightly easier controls or perhaps even remapping would be something I would consider an accessible feature in a game. And then the other things, I suppose, the obvious things are things like subtitles or different languages. So say, obviously, like if you don't speak the language that is being spoken in the game, a way of making it accessible is having a language that you do speak in it. And then other things to do with colour contrast and that sort of thing. If you have any visual impairments, those are the main things I would have thought of if someone said to me, what does accessibility look like to you in a video game? I think very often people have very defined ideas about, well, if you think outside of gaming, accessibility to a building just means ramps. Well, it doesn't actually. It means a whole lot of other things. Lighting, you could have hearing loops, braille, like larger text, different things, all sorts of different things, like things you don't even think about that make a space accessible. And it's not just what everyone thinks, which is always ramps. So I suppose in that way it's kind of similar. Did you have any sort of preconceived ideas about what access was, Matt?
I realised as you were talking then, so I think when people think about accessibility and disability, and we did an episode about this probably a year ago.
Yeah.
It was I think people think of accessibility as bolt-on things. They're one-off special things, like, we've got a new employee who uses a wheelchair, so we'll put a ramp in.
Yeah.
And
they always cost a lot of money to sort out as well.
Yeah, and we haven't got a disabled toilet, so she can only work from home. We're not going to spend all that money putting a disabled toilet in. And this feeling of, we've got to make accommodations for this disabled person who is causing so much trouble by just existing. And this started a lot of really interesting trains of thought, because it got me thinking that bolt-on aspect is, and you're right, it costs so much money, when the change that we need is institutional change. It's not the people who've built the building afterwards going, a disabled person, we need a ramp. It's the people building the building going, we might have blind people, we might have deaf people, we might have people in wheelchairs. And then you build that into the building as a matter of course, so that anyone who walks in goes in, it's already there.
Yeah.
And then that shows that not only I can't imagine, because I'm able-bodied, I've never had any, I'm fit, I've never had any physical impediments. It's hard to imagine walking and being white and cisgender and middle class. I am welcome everywhere. And so I've never experienced that. And I think what this awards ceremony does, not only does it has fun and it celebrates the people doing this, but it also draws massive attention to it through having not only JackSepticEye, one of the most popular YouTubers and Twitchers on the planet, and bloody Ryan Reynolds comes in. So I really feel recently that accessibility and disability in gaming has been really shooting upwards in terms of the legitimacy it's being given now. Is that the impression that you've been getting?
I think it is, slowly. But I do think there is a lot of work still to do, as was pointed out many times during the awards themselves. There are great strides being taken, but there is a lot more to do just to make it pretty much a standard part of game design from the get-go. Because what they're trying to do, and they mention this quite a lot, it's a really good way of explaining it, is what you're trying to do is just make gaming the same experience for the largest number of people possible. What you want to do, this will appeal to lots of higher-ups in the gaming industry. You're trying to make the most money possible, and the best way to sell your games to the most people is to make them accessible to the most amount of people. And to do that, you need to put in accessible features and have it as a standard. You don't even have to think twice about, say, remapping. I think there was an interesting point that was brought up during the awards for remapping controls. Way back when, say 10, 20 years ago, it was considered a really, really outlandish thing to do, to remap the controls, like a massive ask for people to be like, oh, could you move this button to that button and then it'd be easier for me to play. It was considered a really big job, but nowadays it's pretty much standard for most games that you can do that if you want to. And the point is that not everyone's going to use all these features, but they're there for people that need them. So I don't know if I have stranded away from the question, but
no,
yeah,
it's that idea of effort. It's not worth the effort.
Yeah.
The problem is, this ties into feminism so perfectly, is because we'll go, oh, if we want a woman to work here and she's got children, she's got to do childcare. We just won't do it. It's not worth the effort. The problem with that is because the people making the decisions are the ones who go, this has nothing to do with me. I would never use it, so I'll never have to use it. So what's the point? It can't be that important to anyone because I would never use it. And that's exactly how people think about disabilities, like we said in the episode we did.
Yeah.
Anyone can become disabled at any time.
Exactly.
And there's such a vast spectrum of disability. Losing your eyesight, I need glasses now. I didn't need glasses a couple of years ago, and my eyesight is only going to get worse over time. And the glasses make things accessible to you. Or you could have an accident that means that your cognitive function is changed.
Yeah.
And or you could become deaf, and then all of a sudden the award that goes to clear text, the clear text award that was won by Halo Infinite, prioritizes, it's a specific award. You might think, oh, what does that matter? It's just subtitles. If you're deaf and it's in another language, then that's your only source of getting the full information out of the game from it. And it's just such a simple thing. All these things, the every time they said a new award, I went, oh yeah, that's really obvious and really it's interesting and fascinating. How do you, because every single game has different color schemes, how do you make sure that the text stands out but doesn't detract from the look of the game itself? So even that so that's the first award we'll mention by name.
Yes. Yeah, there was quite a number of awards where you just think of them as things you'd use, but you wouldn't necessarily think of them as accessibility features, and in fact they actually are, and they're designed in kind of baked into the game. But like one that surprised me most was, let me see what it was called. I shall find it. We can run through all the categories, in fact, and I think we should.
I've got them written down.
Yes. So, the ability to bypass. So they talked about that in terms of the ability to skip cutscenes, or like where you get stuck on minigames and things like that. The ability where the game recognises you're not doing so well, and maybe you'd like to skip. And the ability to say, yes, I would like to skip, is actually an accessibility feature. But even just skipping cutscenes, because very often, well, in the older games particularly, if you died in a boss fight and you had to watch the entire cutscene all again, like I read in the comments a lot of people with ADHD saying that being able to skip cutscenes or even replay cinematics was really helpful feature for them, because obviously their attention is not quite at the same level as someone without ADHD. So it was just really interesting to read from that point of view as well, about how all these little things can impact massively on someone's experience of enjoying a game.
It's the idea that these things, they're optional extras, they're bolt-ons, like with staircases and lifts.
Oh, have you frozen that?
Able-bodied people. I think you're back. That shame. So it's the things that able-bodied people know that we're the default, and so we look at things like lifts as looking down on them and thinking, that's an optional thing that makes my life easier, but I don't need it. But thinking of all these things, like the bypass option was won by Life is Strange, True Colours. That instantly makes so whenever I heard the names of one of these awards, I instantly thought what my like indoctrinated response was to that. I was thinking, you can't bypass bosses. That's the whole point, is that you can't do things. And that made me think about what's another one? Having a training grounds, which is a specific place where you could go and you can practice anything as much as you want, rather than just being thrown into the game. Because every single game has a different tutorial, and some just throw you straight in, some are really good. But so it was Halo Infinite that won that one.
That one won 2 awards, I think, didn't it, Halo? There was another one that won 2. But yeah, it's very good.
And and so thinking of these things as optional, they're like luxuries if you want to deviate from the default. And it reminded me of our conversation with Athena Stevens in our last episode. And I think she has cerebral palsy and it affects her speech. So it takes her longer to say what she wants to say. And obviously, we just sat there and listened for. It doesn't matter how long it takes her to say it. We make that accommodation and think that's just fine thing. And then when we go back to speaking the way like we speak at the speed that we normally speak at, we think there's no reason why we couldn't speak more slowly. There's no reason why we couldn't take so much more time. And even as I say this more slowly, I'm feeling that tug. No, go faster. Say everything as quickly as you possibly can.
Yeah. No, I often find it's a bit of a symptom of anxiety for me to speak very quickly because I just want the words to be out and then I can stop speaking. You know. But no, I get what you're saying. It definitely, I think it does help to slow down a bit sometimes as well. Yeah.
And it's the thing that I have acquired the disabilities that I have with which are mainly mental, but I experience chronic pain as well. And the internalizing message that I think all disabled people get is that you're extra, your baggage, that you have nothing to offer for society because you can't keep up with the capitalistic normality that we are indoctrinated with. But as with feminism, it's not just hating men. It's a way of living that can enhance life for men, if anything. And taking what we just talked about and like expanding it to, if so you use your wheelchair when you're out and about.
I do.
And if you and I were going down a street in London, I walk at a certain normal speed, but I would, if you were going slower than that normal speed, I would slow down and walk at your speed.
I expect I'd probably go faster, Matt. But
yes, I'm thinking again. I think when I think of a wheelchair, I instantly think of an old. Thinking, already assuming that I'm going to have to.
No, it's probably changes. Safer for me to go slower, but I tend to like to go at full speed, which is about 4 miles an hour, which is quite a fast walking pace. It's still just about walking pace, but it is quite fast. So I often have to slow down for friends or family if they're walking with me.
So that's good. Okay, us having to change. Yeah. I was thinking, so you using my antiquated impression of like I would slow down to walk alongside someone who might have to move slower.
If I was in my manual chair, yes, I would be slower. Yeah.
So, but then if it was another day and it was just me walking down the street, there's no reason I couldn't saunter along nice and slowly. And then that's where life can be enhanced, of slowing down for people who don't have the option of going faster. It's showing you that it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to take your time with things.
Yeah.
And that's what
There's a lot of pressure to do things very quickly and do them like now. You have to always be doing something all the time. But actually, it's much more healthy to take a break sometimes and we do need to just take more breaks, I feel like, as a society. There's just far too much pressure on all of us to constantly be doing.
Yeah, and it's again, I won't go on rants about capitalism today. Just that's where so much of it fascinated me looking at how accessibility in games mirrors the mindset of people thinking about accessibility in the real world. Because there's physical infrastructure like buildings, and then digital infrastructure like games.
Yeah. Then there's also like the wider thing where it's like attitudes of society in general and organisational attitudes and informational barriers. But that's the kind of thing they touched on in some of the awards as well. It's about how sometimes it's about getting information across in a better way. And some of the ways they did that in the categories. I think there was one for AI assistance, which is games that let you know or help you out when you're struggling. So I think Forza Horizon 5 won that category, where the options include steering and braking assists that will guide you towards the optimal driving line in the game, help you brake in corners, and it's the same way as I use the adaptions in my car that help. I have an automatic car, so automatically that's just easier to drive anyway. We all have assisted brakes in cars pretty much nowadays, and hill start assists and things.
And power steering.
Exactly, power steering, yeah. So all of these, lots of people are using adaptions already, but they probably don't even think about it as being an adaption or an assistance or like an accessible feature for them that's sitting in their car already.
That's such a good point.
Yeah.
You should use that. That's like, have you seen Robin Hood Men in Tights?
Yes, I've heard of it. Yes, I've seen bits, but not all of it, no.
There's a bit where Robin Hood, who was it? The Sheriff of Rottingham takes off a glove and slaps Robin Hood in the face with it. And then Robin Hood picks up a metal gauntlet and goes, that's sort of like, if anyone says, I don't need any optional things, you should just try harder. You can go, well, why don't you get rid of the power steering in your car and see how you do? Because that instantly make them go, because then it would be only really, really strong people could drive.
Exactly, yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I think about very old cars, people didn't even have indicators. They had to do hand signals.
Jesus, yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
And seatbelts.
Yeah, seatbelts as well.
And airbags.
Yeah.
So this is why I'm so glad that we did this, because it was only yesterday that you mentioned it, wasn't it? Because
that's right. Yes, it was only last week. I think actually a couple of days ago this was streamed, the award ceremony, and I was really glad I came across it, being a fan of Alanah and Stephen as well. Yeah, no, they're really good.
Do you know much about Stephen?
I've seen a few videos of him. He works a lot with the charity Able Gamers, which is American, but it basically helps to support disabled gamers in being able to access games more and to promote accessible gaming and entry into the gaming industry and all that sort of stuff. So doing lots of really cool work and helping people get adapted controllers and different equipment they can use to play games in the same way as everyone else, basically.
So cool. There are so many amazing people doing things that
even Alanah, who was doing the sponsor reads for Pizza Hut, who was hilarious.
I've never heard of him either.
Cerebral palsy. He's great. He's been on a few Funhouse videos, which is how I got to know Alanah, through the Funhouse YouTube channel initially, and now I follow her YouTube channel in its own right. But yeah, they all work together in LA. They're all based in LA. And Zach's hilarious. He's a comedian, but he very often, obviously, has a lot of disabled humour, which is really great. And I didn't feel like any of it was sort of shoehorned in or like tokenistic in any way. Like with all these bigger award ceremonies, you always feel really cringy, like it's been pushed on you and it's all done as a token gesture. But none of this felt like that at all, which I really enjoyed being able to watch. It was really good.
But it's that this is an institution. This gaming awards is an institution of accessibility, whereas with the other awards, it's bolted on as with ever.
Exactly.
Whereas it comes from
even the people reading the awards, the announcers were all streamers. Well, not all of them, but most of them were streamers with disabilities themselves. A lot of whom I'd never heard of. So I think watching the awards is a great way if you want to be an advocate for promoting accessibility in games and promoting disabled gamers, is go and check out a few of the announcers and have a look at their Twitch and all their different channels and stuff, because I'm definitely going to be looking up a few of them. There was a lady I think it was the first category, which was, where was it? Training grounds, yes. And she had Tourette's, which was really cool to see. To actually see people like with various different disabilities. There was one guy who did a Twitch channel, I think it's called No Hands, No Excuses, because he has no hands. So it's about being able to game with no hands, basically, which is really cool. But yeah, the fact that they were all involved as well is really cool, I thought.
Yeah, because it's the thing of, it's about centering. This was centering disabled people, talking about the things that they love and the things that they do. And in terms of why it's so cool that we're doing this why it's so fresh, is because we've both learned a ton from just watching it, and now I'm learning and thinking about new things from talking to you about it. So it starts a conversation with yourself, and then starts conversation with other people, and then that will disseminate out.
Yeah. I thought one of the most interesting ones was house rules category, which is where you can basically create your own rules within the game. And it was voted unanimously to win by 100%. And that game was Among Us. And they did a special sort of video call with the, I think it was the accessibility lead or one of the chief game devs for Among Us, who didn't know that they'd been awarded the award during the call, which was really funny to see as well, to see them realise and stuff. But I think, and also everyone that voted was kind of, I think it was all done via able gamers, and so every person that was asked to vote was a disabled gamer, which is really cool as well. So it's like genuine experiences of gamers and how they feel about the games that they've played, which is a really good thing to remind people of, I think, as well. It's not just some bigwigs who decided, yes, well, this one looks like it's good, let's vote for that one. These are real gamers who've actually tested these features, and so, yeah, genuine praise should be given to all the nominees, I think, definitely.
Yeah, it's so nice seeing genuine, authentic content of people who actually care. And I think it's that sort of solidarity that a very marginalised community can have.
Yeah.
And this is so empowering, and it's going to be a platform for so many people taking their first steps in learning about what accessibility really means. Because the first thing they said was, oh, accessibility, that's just easy mode, isn't it?
Yeah, which is a really big debate at the moment, especially with Elden Ring having recently come out, and whether there should be an easy mode on Elden Ring and all this. This all started again. I'm sure we had the similar debate. Was it when Sekiro came out? Last year? We had the same conversation. It was a really good podcast, actually. I'll have to go back and listen to it now. But yeah, it's the same conversation again, where people just think making a game accessible is just putting in easy mode. And that is not what it is. It's a whole lot of other stuff. Like something I didn't even know about was one of the categories, second channel, which is really cool. I'd love to see a bit more about how that actually works, because I think it's amazing. And I think who won that one? That was Guardians of the Galaxy from, I think Square Enix did really well. There was a lot of games from Square Enix in there.
What did second channel mean?
Second channel is for games which give various additional indicators to convey information. So, like when different things pop up on your screen to say there's something behind you, or I think it's something like that, or maybe it's like audio description on a second channel. We'll have to look it up again, because that didn't explain it very well. Give players a means or interface to get the information they need to progress. This was the one presented by Ryan Reynolds, which was really cool, because he's good friends with Stephen as well.
That's so cool. I can't believe that's like the amount of like prestige that's the prestige that it deserves and the legitimacy that it deserves. That's sort of a rubber stamp, because there will be probably hundreds of thousands of people who will only have clicked on that award because they saw
Ryan
Ryan
Reynolds.
Reynolds.
Yeah, it's great though. I think it's great. But I noticed there was a game that didn't win any awards but was nominated for multiple awards called Unpacking, which looks really interesting. So I definitely would like to check that game out as well. It's what I love about these things. It brings games to the forefront that you wouldn't otherwise have found just from playing the games that you normally do. But yeah, Unpacking looks really cool. I think it's from Humble Bundle and Witchbeam. And I would figure it's about unpacking, but I'm not entirely sure. But it looks interesting. Yeah, I'll have to look that one up. It was nominated for at least 2 or 3 categories, I think. Was there anything you didn't know about, Matt, before you watched that you know about now?
So much. It's more of the mindset we've been talking about, thinking, it's not just adding these things on, it's baking it in, it's making it institutional change. So that was the main thing. And sort of an expansion of my knowledge about things that I thought I knew. So, for example, that second channel thing, I've been really enjoying Call of Duty Vanguard, and one of the main things that you judge about it is the sound, because you can hear where your opponent is firing, and the level of sound it makes depends on the attachments they've got, and you can also hear bullets that come near you. So if one wings right past your head, it sounds different to one that wings a foot past you. You can hear them hitting things. And so I thought that's, again, an enhancer. It's an optional enhancer that I could do without. But there will be people with... there's finding out recently that blind people can play games, and that's something that I'd never even considered before, and thinking that's so important. And I realized very briefly playing God of War a while ago that I'd looked away for something, and I just was pressing buttons, and I could feel when the enemy was coming to attack me. And that just made me think, holy shit, there's so much that could be done.
Yeah. I mean, even when Atreus yells out to you, that's kind of like an accessibility feature, where he's like, behind you, or there's one coming up now. It's like the game's telling you there's enemies around you, but you can't necessarily see them yet. Which is
that's such a good point.
Same thing with
it's an enhancement.
When games go black and white when you're nearly dead. That's a visual indicator that you're nearly dead. So if you can't hear anything, you know you're in trouble. There's all sorts of things. When you think about them a little bit more, you're like, actually, this is an accessibility feature.
Yeah, but I really enjoy when broader mindset changes, because it puts so many more things into perspective. Like going, it's okay to slow down.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you're lesser that you go slow, or that you need more time to get words out to speak, or that you want to skip a boss because of whatever reason, whatever you need, that it's okay, and that it can be solved on the institutional level. You don't have to keep on asking for crumbs at the side. You deserve the entire. I said this. You don't settle for crumbs. You demand the banquet. And I found this tremendous. Not the cliche of, it was so inspiring. Disabled people, they're so inspiring. This was the genuine, just enjoying and enthusiastic about it.
I think it was really good. it wasn't at all tone deaf or anything. I think if you pardon the phrase tone deaf, but it's a little joke. Yeah. No, it was really good. I really enjoyed watching it. I think hopefully, because I think, as you said, it was the second year it was running. They didn't have a sponsor last year, so I think it was basically Alanah and a green screen and Steve and a green screen, and that was it. But it's going from strength to strength, and we'll go back and watch 2020. The reason it was 2021 and not 2022 for this year is because all of the games featured were released in 2021. They're just hosting the awards show now in 2022. In case that confused anybody, because I was confused by it slightly at first, but then it made sense when they explained it's all games that came out last year. So I look forward to next year's, well, technically this year's one, whenever that will be. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed it, and it's definitely worth a watch. Yeah.
And again, any kind of conversation about disability that is centered on and like centered around a conversation of disabled people, that is the place to learn, because it's a lot of people just don't know, and that's okay.
Yeah, it's okay not to know.
But it's not disabled people's responsibility to educate you. That's why these things are so awesome, because it's disabled people coming together, centering themselves and doing something for them. And we get to watch and enjoy and learn from that, rather than calling up someone disabled and going, explain to me how this affects your life.
Yes. Yeah,
I think this is So this is awesome, and we look forward to next year. Is there anything else that we haven't talked about?
Did we miss any categories? Let's have a look. Input reduction was one where that's the same thing I mentioned earlier, where if you had a quick time event and you had to do lots of tapping, it would change the controls and make it just a press or even a release. All sorts of different things that would work for you. So that was another good category to have in there. And then remapping, again, is like kind of similar to input reduction, but it's just moving where buttons are. So, and then improved precision, again, was one that went to Far Cry 6, which was for customizing input sensitivity. So like camera movement with the mouse or the trigger or the stick, making it more or less sensitive depending on how much you can move or can't move, which is really good as well. Were there any other categories? I think we talked about everything else.
I think there was peer assistance.
Oh yes, peer assistance with It Takes Two, which is a brilliant game as well, and you definitely do need peer assistance for that. But yeah, that's really great as well, because it doesn't make you feel bad for having someone there to help you, because you need someone there to help you to get through, which is really good.
And it being, we're told to be so individualistic. Yeah. Everyone get yours, do everything alone. Well, I've changed the way I approached with Elden Ring, because other players leave messages everywhere.
Yeah, that's like peer assistance essentially as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I just really enjoy it. I feel like I'm part of a team.
Yeah.
Working together, and it also helps me when I'm about to be attacked out of nowhere by a massive rat or a great big pot, or you describing the walking church with a bell, describing that as an udder is inspired.
Well, it is. I think it looks like one. It is, but it's massive. It's huge. Amazing.
So I think we've covered all of the awards.
Yes.
But it is available on YouTube ad infinitum, I imagine.
Yes, on Alanah's YouTube, I believe. So yes, go and have a look.
Yeah, really good fun. As always, we are Gaming the System. We will be releasing this, it'll come. Well, there's no point me telling you when we're going to release it because it'll be out just by the fact that you're watching it. So thank you for watching or listening. And you can find us every Thursday at 7 p.m. with a live podcast or a live stream. And then on every other Tuesday, we will have a deep dive or a bonus round. Please, wherever you are watching or listening, give us a comment. We want to know what you think. We want to know what you want to know. And and it helps us build up our following so we can get more feminist gaming information into the eyes and ears of the masses. So until next time, Matt and Alex, bye-bye.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed that episode of Gaming the System. If you want to support us, you can donate to us through our PayPal by sending it to wearegamingthesystem@gmail.com if you want to send us a one-off donation. If you want to donate to us monthly, you can subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/gamingthesystem. Until next time, bye-bye.